Complete oil and filter service on the Vauxhall Corsa D 1.2 petrol. This particular one is the A12 XCR engine code, but this should cover all of the 1.2 petrols as far as I'm aware. So first thing I've done, I want to get the worst bit out of the way, which is the oil. I've jacked up the car on this good piece of the body here, good strong piece of the body, and then I've stuck this chunky axle stand on the front subframe. Now I've jacked it up from the passenger side because the sump is towards the driver's side of the car, so this should allow more of the oil to drain out than if we jacked it up from the driver's side. Now I'm not going to remove the sump plug just yet. I'm going to remove the oil filler cap, and then we're going to find our way to the oil filter, which is just down here. So in order to give ourselves some access to the oil filter housing, we need to pull the ECU out of the way. Now there's just a clip here, and then it'll slide out from the clip at the back, and then we can lift the ECU out of the way. We don't need to fully remove it, just giving us a little bit of extra room to the filter housing. 24mm socket to remove the filter cap. Pull the old filter off. I always use Mann or OE parts. Remove the old O-ring on the filter housing cap. Make sure there's a smear of oil on the new O-ring, and then fit the new filter. I'm not going to refit the oil filter just yet. I'm going to remove the sump plug and drain the oil. So what we've got is a T45 Torx sump plug, and as you can see, they very kindly have a torque rating for the sump plug after we're done. Now you might be wondering why the oil looks like this, but yours won't look like that, I assure you, or if it does, you have got a serious problem. I've just done the head gasket on this engine, so a little bit of coolant has dropped into the oil while removing the timing cover, hence the full service that we're doing now. So normally I would suggest having the engine warm when removing the oil, but as the oil is full of coolant on this car, the engine is cold. But we've left the oil filler cap off and the oil filter off, which should allow the oil to escape a little bit faster. While I'm waiting for the oil to drain out fully, I can get on with the air filter. So we've got 4 T25 Torx screws on the top of the air box. I've also loosened this Jubilee clip with a 7mm socket, and what we need to do is lift up the right hand side of the box and pull it out of the securing section. We can separate this pipe. Probably get away without undoing this pipe here, but give us a bit more room to see what's going on. So this air filter not in bad condition. Try not to touch the new filter with dirty hands. And if there's any debris in the airbox, vacuum it out. Make sure the filter goes in the same way it came out. So it looks like this filter is actually slightly rectangular. It looks like it might be square, but it does seem to be rectangular. Push all the edges down. Make sure that they're definitely seated correctly. Because if it's not seated here at the back, it'll make it very difficult to get the airbox top back on. And once seated correctly, we can tighten up the Jubilee clip. And screw all the Torx screws back in. Once you're happy with the amount of oil that's drained out, then refit the sump plug. Now, these Vauxhall sump plugs come with a little rubber washer, which is replaceable. However, I'm not going to replace it this time, I'm going to replace it next time, because I will be changing the oil again on this. And it's still dripping out because I've stuck a little bit of extra oil in the top just to flush it out a little bit extra. So refit and tighten to 15 Newton meters as it says on the sump, which if you haven't got a torque wrench, 15 Newton meters is not a lot. It's not much pressure on a short reach ratchet, so be very careful not to over tighten. Just causes you problems in the future, especially with these Torx type sump plugs. Replace the oil filter and tighten to 25 Newton meters, which is also written on the filter housing. ECU put back in position. Now we can start adding oil. So there are a few figures dotted around online regarding the capacity. I've got my capacity from Autodata which says 4 litres, but the internet says as little as 3.5 and up to 4.2. So which you use makes no difference, because add approximately 3.5 litres initially, drop the engine down, drop the car down on a flat surface and run the engine up to temperature. Then once you've got the engine up to temperature, switch the car off for 5 minutes and check that the oil is between the maximum and minimum mark on the dipstick. So between those two hatched areas on the dipstick, we'll check that after topping it up. So I've added just a bit more than 3.5 litres of oil. Going to refit the oil filler cap and run the engine up to temperature. The exhaust is blowing a little bit on this, but anyway, we're just going to run this up to temperature and then we'll turn it off for 5 minutes and check the oil level. So engine's been running up to temperature. Now we can check the level of the oil. So clean the dipstick off, reinsert it, and as you can see we're up to here. So we can top the oil up until it's in this hatched area here. I've added another 1/2 litre and we've moved up to here. So we're just under. Now that's the oil out of the way, we can get on with the spark plugs. So we need to remove this plastic cover over the ignition coil. We've got 2 T30 Torx screws holding the coil pack in position, and we've got this clip to remove here. So that's in the locked position and that's unlocked, then we can press it and pull it off. Coil pack removed. So, standard spark plug tool. Start removing all the spark plugs. Switch to an older spark plug socket because that was just getting too stuck on the spark plugs, which will make it difficult when it comes to removing the socket after refitting the new spark plugs. A bit easier to get out. New spark plugs, NGK. Be very careful not to drop these, as this space here is very important. So if you do drop it, you'll want to get a new one. Now, there are two types of these spark plugs, depending on whether you've got a washer here or no washer and a fixed chamfer. Will dictate how much you tighten the spark plug once it reaches the seat. So if it doesn't have a washer, once it's reached the seat, you'll need to tighten it 1/16 of a turn. If it does have a washer, as we do, you'll need to tighten it 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn after it meets the mating surface. So carefully inserting the new spark plug and hand screwing it until it reaches the bottom. Then once it reaches the bottom, and you can't go any further, we are tightening it. So 1/4, 1/2, about 2/3 of a turn. I'll do the same for all of them. Now this is where you'll want an older spark plug socket, because they can get stuck on the spark plug, so they'll take a bit of wiggling to come out with the extension. So I'll just insert the other 3 quickly. If your coil pack was difficult to remove, it may help to spray a little bit of penetrating fluid, lubrication like WD-40 on the outside of the coils. You've no need to spray it on the inside. Refit the connector and lock it in position. And that's your spark plugs done. Final item on the complete filter service, we've got the cabin filter, which is located in the passenger footwell behind the glove box. It looks like we might be able to do it without removing the glove box completely, if we can get hold of it. So be sure to take note of the direction of airflow, which this filter doesn't seem to have on, or is too dirty. But it looks like it goes this way. See, we've got arrows on this new filter, so we'll want it pointing that way. Clipped in at the top and the bottom. All done. Thanks for watching. I really do hope that this video has helped. Any comments and subscriptions are very much appreciated, and if you'd like to see more videos on this car and many others, please do check out my channel. Thank you.